Go.
Hello friends, welcome to the last in our series that Niall, Strickland and I have been collaborating on for the last 4 weeks, our Leadership Challenge series. Today's session is going to be about how to go get that customer. We welcome discussions, so please type in any questions, observations that you might have in the text box near the bottom of your GoToMeeting panel, and we will try to respond to you during this webinar. The webinar will run for approximately 45 minutes, and after that time, if you have additional questions that didn't get answered for you, please feel free to contact us by email at info@roosconsulting.com. And if you have any technical difficulties during the course of this call, please feel free to send a text to our assistant Julie, and her number is 917-689-9895. Mind maps of the content of this session can be sent to you if you email us at info@roosconsulting.com, or the audio files are available on the events tab of our roosconsulting.com website should you wish to listen to the webinars again. At this point, I would like to turn the time over to my valued friend and collaborator Niall Strickland, who's going to be the facilitator for our call today on going and getting that customer. Again, feel free at any time to raise your hand or put comments in the chat section, and we will try to be responsive during the course of this collaboration. Welcome, Niall.
Thanks, Larendee, and welcome everybody once again to our 4th in the Leadership Challenge series. Larendee last week very comprehensively covered the tactics and tools you can use to increase your client wins. Well worth a second look at her presentation, so if you need to look at what we covered last week to look at the specific tips and tools, I would advise you to go and just drop us an email and we'd be delighted to send it on to you. As Larendee said, we're also delighted to answer your questions if you want to do them offline. Also, if you collaborate, this makes it more interesting for us here too on the call. So feel free to put your questions in as we go through the process. I have a number of different areas that I want to talk about this evening, and Larendee will jump in and out with her own comments, I guess, as we go through it. And she will deal with your questions, or if you have specific questions for me, I will answer them myself as well. The first thing I want to talk about this evening, it's tonight here where I am. It's 8 o'clock in the evening, but it's the 4 mandates that we as leaders ought to embrace. And it goes under the 4 S's. First one is strategize, and it's about knowing where you're going, to have a very clear idea of where you're going and how that journey is going to be planned out. The synthesize, which is the second piece of it, is breaking it down into manageable steps so that you're not taking on too much at one time. The third element is systemizing, so that you can create a mechanism so that you're not the only one using the system, that other people can use it as well. This takes some of the heavy lifting off your shoulders. And then the last piece, obviously in the selling part of what we're trying to teach you in terms of going out to your customers, is to do it in a well-defined sales sequence, that the steps of that selling process are well-defined and you know where the value within that whole process is. Moving on to objections, we've loads of reasons why people don't buy from us at the end of the day, and it's no different in your business than it is in ours. What we tend to see here most often is our customers don't understand what we're selling them. Very often they may not want it, they may not believe what we're telling them, and therefore they don't want the product. Maybe they don't believe that they can do most of the work themselves with a little help from us. That's one of the big challenges for us, because we're not into creating dependency relationships at the end of the day. What we want to do is to help people stand up tall on their own and give them the guidance that they need, that gets them running, and just coming back to us for the little nudge along the way to make sure that they stay on track. And also, people think that consulting can be very expensive and they can't afford it. we try to pitch our programs at a level that are accessible to everybody. You know, we've expensive programs, sure, and we've entry-level programs as well. We've group programs, and we've programs that we do on a one-to-one basis. So there's something there that will suit everybody. So it's not so much about can I afford it, it's more to do with what value can I get out of this, and will I get a return on that investment, and it must be seen as an investment. There are other customers that will say they don't want it right now, and that's okay. The time has to be right for everybody. And just reflecting back on all of the reasons why people might object to doing business with us, you're going to have a similar set of objectives in your own business. They may not be exactly the same as that, but in identifying what those particular issues are, you're in a far stronger position to get over those objections and to deliver the customers that your business needs. I don't know whether you want to comment on that, Larendee, before I move on.
Just supporting what you've been talking about, Neil, is how important these sales conversations are in our business and in any business, really. And I always look at it that we have internal customers and external customers. And so if what I call our internal customers are those that we collaborate with, our employees, our partners in business, that if we're not taking good care of those relationships, that will bleed out into as we're trying to take care of our external customers as well. So this idea of understanding what we're selling, what we're about, what we believe in is so critical as we're trying to spread that message outside and attract customers into our organization. I know you're going to talk about that a little bit more in another section, but just reinforcing and reiterating your point there, Neil, of how important us understanding what we sell so that we can communicate it in clear, simple ways to our audience is so critical and so important.
Okay, thank you for that. And if there's anybody else on the call here that wants to ask a question as we cover the topics, don't wait till the end. We're happy to have you jump in at any time.
Neil, we did have one thought that came up that said, I found that listening and hearing what our customer is saying between the lines says a lot. And it's been my experience that we do better when we really take the time to listen to what our customer is saying. And that reading between the lines, for me, it's less about reading between the lines because I might misunderstand or misinterpret, but that I take the patience to ask my customer, internal, external, what they need, and then deciding if there's a way that I can provide that need for them. So just taking a little bit more time to listen and ask questions that are going to help us decide if we're the right partner, you know, to work together. So,
okay.
So moving on.
Okay, thank you for that. In dealing with objections, the first thing that I would say is that objections are an opportunity to have dialogue with your prospects and existing clients. As Larendee said there, it's about listening and getting a better understanding of your client's needs so that you're better able to meet those particular needs. Some people within the selling part of organizations don't like rejection and often take it personally when people say, no, I don't want this. At one particular time, I worked in an organization down in Maryland, and we were told to go out and seek rejection because if we're not getting enough rejection, we're not getting enough business. So that always stuck with me, I have to say. The next thing is don't hard sell. It's a turn-off. I don't like it. I guess most of you out there don't like it either. You have to see the value of any offer that you're making, number one, and number two, that if people are making the offer to you, it has to feel like the message is clear and there's something in it for you. So it's really about creating a winning marketing message in relation to how you address your constituents or your potential clients. And there are a number of different things within this, and it follows the C's. The first one is make a big, bold claim. Tell people about what you can do. Tell them where the advantage is and what you're actually able to offer them. And the second one is identifying common challenges or obstacles to be overcome by prospects and clients. I mean, we're all running small or medium-sized businesses here. We all have similar problems. What Larendee and me have in our business is no different from what you're experiencing out there. So therefore, we're able to address your problems because we're experiencing them ourselves, and we've met them again and again in client companies. So you're benefiting from the experience that we have in order to meet those challenges on an ongoing basis. If you also show your commonality with your prospects or client, you know, I'm just like you, whether you're selling widgets or services or whatever the case may be, if again that commonality comes through and that you can position yourself in the shoes of the client, you create a better understanding of what you're offering them, why you're offering it, and what their particular needs are. You don't make offers that don't meet needs at the end of the day. The next one on the list there is tell them that your offering is real. You got to be credible at the end of the day. There's no point in us making false claims, and there's no point in you making false claims either when you're presenting your offerings to your client. Your experience will tell people a lot. This is one of the reasons why we do these webinars, so people will get to know us, they'll see what we do, they'll see our videos, they listen to us interact, and that's how you build an open and trusting and credible relationship with your constituents. So we're practicing what we preach, I guess, at the end of the day. The next one is presenting a choice which will deliver the desired results for your prospects or clients. At the end of the day, if you don't deliver something that matches their requirements, people are not going to buy from you at the end of the day. So they will choose something that meets with their needs, and they will just turn away from you if you put something out there that is of no value to them. The next one is about doing comparison pricing. I mean, you have to show your customers out there that you're delivering value. You know, some consultants out there may charge, you know, $1,000 an hour. We don't charge anything like that. But it doesn't mean that the value we deliver at the end of the day is any less than what you would get from some of the higher brow consulting firms. So you have to have a view of what you're getting at the end of the day and compare with what you might get with others, and decide, is this the value that you want to get for your organization and for yourself?
Just going back for just a second, Neil,
yeah.
This is a bit of a lengthy section. So I think what you talked about, credibility and communicating well, is really important on a couple of fronts. And for me, Neil, I've had to build credibility over time. And it's not something that we do readily and we do quickly. But one thing that helps that credibility build, that helps customers make a choice because about whether they're going to land in our circle or not, or in the case of our clients that we're sharing this message with, the decision that customers will make to buy from you and continue in relationship with you is what credibility builders you're consistently communicating and delivering over time. So what we say is important, how we say it's important, everything in any type of marketing materials that we use, whether it be through verbal speak, our website, needs to support that credibility building platform, so that, because customers do have a choice. And then also, once we're really clear about who we are, what we're about, the people that we are meant to serve, then as we talk about that in a clear, succinct, and as you talked about, systematic way, then customers will decide whether we're part of their consideration set in choosing, and then whether they're going to continue to invest their dollars with us over time. So credibility, like you talked about, is something that, again, is built over time, and at least has been my experience.
Okay, and just to reiterate, I mean, this is us sharing our view of the world and how we deal with these issues with regard to our business. And it's not intended to be a showcase about us. It's really about getting you to reflect on your own business and to see how these ideas resonate with you and how they may affect your own business. It's not about us, actually. It's about you at the end of the day. So moving on anyway, you need to address concerns or objections head on, and I talked about that a little bit in the last point in relation to the reasons for objections. Don't hide from them. I mean, you need to have honest conversations that you know, address the specific objections, and if it knocks them on the head, well and good. If it doesn't, that's fine too. And at the end of your marketing message, you always have to have a call to action, and it's about getting people to take massive action right now. You know, do something. You know, check out our website, go look at our brochures, make a phone call, send an email. It may be any of those things, but you need to encourage your constituents to take massive action at the end of your marketing message, and it's usually the last thing that you do. So those first sections that I talked about there up until now have all been about building on what we talked about last week, and you know, helping get customers attracted to you and converted into loyal customers. I now want to move back a little bit into the leadership side of things that we've talked about through the other 3 of our webinars, and I want to talk about in particular the profile of high-performing leaders, so that we can emulate the best of what we see out there. My view has always been, don't reinvent the wheel. Copy the people who are successful out there already and their strategies, and you can be successful as well. So that's just the message that I would like to put out there to you. So the first thing that I would put up there for high-performing leaders is that they're always future-orientated. They're not happy to stay in the here and now. They're always looking to the next opportunity, to the next quarter, the next half year, what's coming 3 years down the road. They're always looking at how they can deliver value for their constituents going out over a period of time. They actively look for challenges within their business and in the external market. They're not happy to just accept the status quo. And again, moving back to some of the things that Larendee talked about last week, they're connection lovers. They talk to people. Not only do they connect directly to people, but they connect their networks to other networks so that everybody benefits in that particular scenario. And high-performing leaders are also self-reliant. They do listen to those around them, but at the end of the day, they have the confidence and creativity to go out there and follow the dream and go do it. And I guess we're advocating tonight that you do exactly that as well. Be confident in your offer, be confident in your business, and go out there and share it. They're also creatively driven and expressive in nature. They're not slow at coming forward and coming up with new ideas. They're not slow to tell you about their new ideas, and they share it with their teams internally within their businesses as well. Lots of them tend to be extroverts rather than introverts, not to say that introverts are a problem, but they tend to be what they call in the NLP world towards people. They're always moving towards something rather than the other side of that coin, away people that are always moving away from something, and it's the core driver in their life. So leaders tend to be always pushing towards achievement rather than running away from their problems. And the last one in this particular section is meaning makers. In other words, they create meaning for others as they move through their business and through their journey through life. You they create value. People subscribe to what they're saying. People they listen to them. I guess I don't know, Larendee, have you any comments on this particular section?
Well, I think as you talked about that connection, people are good leaders are good at connecting, and also recognizing that they don't have to be expert in every single discipline that their business may require, but they're self-reliant enough to look outside of themselves and seek guidance and help as well. I think the leaders that I've worked with over time, and even the customers that I work with are so inspiring, recognize that we need to be self-reliant, and part of that self-reliance is knowing where our limitations are and looking outside of ourselves and sometimes outside of our organizations if necessary to find the answers that we need. And in that, then creativity also can come into play, and we have more space within our organizations to make effective decisions. So.
Okay, I mean that figures nicely into the next section, which I call the high performance model. They're effectively the 7 Ps. The first one in this particular set, in terms of being a high performer, is the psychology. It's having the right mindset. Your particular view of the world is right. The second thing is that it's reflected in your physiology, that your body comes into play as well, your body language. It's about keeping healthy, it's about exercising, it's about diet, and you're not going to be a high performer if you're not taking care of yourself from a health perspective. The third one is productivity, and this is all about seeking accomplishment and being creative both at work and at play. You don't come to work with one personality and go home and have a different personality. You got to be playful, you got to be creative, you got to be into contribution, and that's displayed in all aspects of your life. So, be productive at home, be productive in work, and share, be open with those around you. The fourth one in this particular series for high performance is persuasion. You need to be able to influence people at the end of the day, to listen to you, to take your ideas on board, to try out the ideas, and for you to have a position as a leader within your organization. You've got to be a good persuader. And the last 3 I take together in one particular go, although it's down as a single point. It's having a real purpose and having passion about what you're doing, and to be present in the moment. If you're not present in every moment in your interactions with people, they'll sense that you're not there. If you're talking at them rather than talking to them, they'll always know. You'll get found out every time. So you must have clear purpose, be passionate about what you do, and be present at all times while you're interacting with people. Again, Larendee, I throw that back to you to make a comment if you wish.
Yes, back to your point about purpose, passion, and persuasion. I heard a comment yesterday from a peer that was talking about how leaders are very often charismatic, and what does charismatic mean? And when you really break it all down, it's what you just talked about. It's that they're confident and they're purposeful, right? And that they have a passion for what they do, and then that promotes confidence. And so when someone looks at a leader and says, they seem to be charismatic, it's most likely their ability to demonstrate their purposeful, passionate, and present, actions within that subset. So I agree with you, and also that the good leaders, they're not afraid of a challenge, right? That we embrace it, and that we're not afraid of it. So.
And again, just to reiterate to anybody who has joined us a little bit late, the presentation you see on the screen are it's a set of pointers to help you follow what we're talking about, but it's actually more than that. It's to take this stuff away and use it in your own business and your own life. They're very, very useful frameworks for looking at a business and how you operate. So again, if you're not here for the whole presentation, make sure that at the end of the presentation that you drop us an email and we'll send you out the entire presentation by email. Moving on, there are several different reasons why people are not more influential, and as leaders we want to be influencers at the end of the day. The number one reason why people are not more influential is because they think influence is automatic and episodic. What does that actually mean? It means that people assume straight away that I'm entitled to be listened to, that people will respect me automatically, and therefore I'm going to be able to influence them in some way. But it's far from automatic. Trust is built up over time, and you need to be consistent in the way that you present yourself and the way you operate in order to generate this automatic respect. And the word episodic here means not continuous, that you only do it every now and again. If you do it every now and again, you're not going to have credibility. You need to be absolutely consistent, and how you talk with one person should be the same way you talk to another person. And if you're a leader in your organization, the people that work with you need to emulate that type of behavior as well, so that no matter who somebody touches within your organization, they feel they're dealing with the same person, and this leadership comes from the top. The other reasons why people are not more influential, number one is lack of awareness, and self-awareness probably more than anything else. They really need to talk to people at a different level, not just talk at them. Be aware of the impact that their conversations have on other people, and it's not just about them. Lack of presence is the next one on the list. It again harks back to the last set of points that I make. It's not being present in every moment. You don't switch it on and switch it off like a light switch. When you engage with anybody, you need to be present in the moment the whole time, and people have to feel that from you. The other reason why people may not be more influential is lack of generosity. They're not giving. It's all about them rather than giving. You have to be a giving person in order for people to like you and to want to engage with you. It's not all about the greenback at the end of the day. Another reason is not offering enough value. We like to think that we offer more value than we actually charge people for, and I think that's the right way to do business. It's not about just gouging people for the maximum amount they think they can pay. So if you give enough value, people will think you are a person of influence. You got to have strong character, and this is all around the same kind of topic here. It's about you as a person and how you behave, and the consistency at the end of the day is key in terms of how you behave and display yourself to everybody, not just your customers, but to the people inside your organization, and when you go home, that you have the same kind of demeanor with your family. You know, you're one person, you're not two or three different people. Again, Larendee or anybody else who may be on the calls, I throw it out there for anyone to make a comment or an observation or to ask us a question.
Right, certainly anyone who would like to ask a question, please feel free to do so. A great, Neil, very often we look at other authors that we've studied that have encouraged and inspired us toward these principles, and One of the gentlemen, Tom Peters, who's a great study, talks about, wrote a book called Management by Walking Around. And he very much supports what you're saying, Neil, that we have to be present, we have to be aware, we have to get out of our chair and be engaged with our customers externally and internally, so we really have a good pulse and heartbeat of what's going on inside of our organizations.
Okay. Moving on to the second last topic in our area, this is quite a detailed framework that I want to share with you this evening. It's the activity drives we can engage to increase our influence. These are things that we have within ourselves that will allow us to influence people and lead a charged life, if you like. And it's a framework all beginning with the letter C. The first one is control, and it asks the question, how do I give my constituents more control over themselves, their lives, their business, or whatever it is they're interested in doing? The second one is competence. How do I increase my constituents' knowledge or skill? This is one that we're very close to in our business here. As I said a little bit earlier, it's about transferring the skills and the knowledge that we have to our constituents so they become competent in a new skill that perhaps they don't have at the moment. The third one is congruence. How do I ensure I always do what I say and say what I do? It's not a good idea to become a leader who stands at the back and pushes the troops forward. You lead by example, and you always do as you say and say as you do. Caring is a really interesting one here because at the end of the day, it's got to be real. You can't be fake about caring for other people. You can't be fake about caring for your client. You can't be fake about wanting to satisfy their wants and needs. You know, you have to put offers out there that show you care. You've got to demonstrate it consistently. So how do you actually make sure that you genuinely care about your constituents? It's an interesting question and takes a little bit of soul searching. The next one is about connection. How do I make sure I connect with everyone I meet? This harks back again to the idea of being present in the moment. People will always get a sense of whether you're there in the moment with them, whether you're looking them in the eye, whether you're listening to what they're saying, whether you're answering their particular questions as you're interacting with them. And as Larendee said earlier, it's about listening. You know, listening is much more important than talking. 80% of the time in your interactions with others, you should be listening, because that's where you will make the kind of connections that you need to have with people. The next one on the list is about change. How do I paint a better future world for my constituents? How do I help them to improve their situation, whether it's in their business or their lives or their psychology or whatever it may be? What changes can I actually bring in to my customer's life that will make it better for them? The next one is about challenge. How can we challenge ourselves so that everyone comes out ahead without compromises? It again was addressed in one of our earlier webinars about having win-win relationships and no other kind of relationship, that everybody comes away with something and there's always something left on the table for the next guy. Creative expression is an important one too. We all survive and thrive based on being allowed to make a creative expression in everything that we do. We want to be able to do that for other people as well. So contribution is the next one. How can we help those around us to contribute more as a result of their interactions with us? We are in the service business at the end of the day, and we like to contribute. But I also like to think that we contribute in our personal lives, making our communities better, our extended families better, and you know, that we have a sense of our place. So contribution is really, really important because it transcends business and personal. And the last point before we move on to a general review of where we're at is about consciousness. How can we actually achieve a higher level of consciousness as a result of our interactions with others, while making sure that our constituents also achieve the same level of consciousness. So again, it's about being there in the moment. There's a lot of resonance between the different points here, but they would be the ones that I would generally put out there as the 10 drivers to increase our influence with others around us and with those that we engage. Again, I put it open to the floor to raise any questions or to make any comments, or Larendee, you may have something to say.
I think you did a great job of covering a lot of information in there, and I think that ultimately for each of us we have to ask ourselves the question, what do we want to put out to the world, and then how can we effectively communicate that using these C's, as you talked about, to lead our organizations toward our ultimate goal. And for those of us who, we show up every day and we put ourselves out there because we have needs that need to be met for our families, for our organizations, and how can we do that in a very fully expressed way. And, especially the last few parts where you talked about doing it through creative expression and contribution really is kind of what I call the spice of life, and the spice of what makes us getting up every day and putting ourselves out there so worth it, so worthwhile. So, okay, as we go ahead and move on to the next section, unless anyone has any other questions for us, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Neil, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about as we kind of close out?
No, I'm good on that. Again, just to remind our listeners out there that we love to hear from them. If any of this stuff resonates with them, if they want to challenge us on any of this, or any of the frameworks, there's lots of them in here tonight that we put out there. I know there's a lot covered. Needs a little bit of reflection. But what we're about here within the webinar series is sharing our knowledge and trying to allow other people to benefit from what we know. So, it may be confusing having so much information thrown at you very, very quickly, but that's the reason why we share the notes, to allow you to go over them after the fact and then come back to us with any questions or observations.
Very good.
Really.
So we hope that you've enjoyed the time that we've spent together over the last 4 weeks. And we are going to be planning over the next couple of weeks our next series of seminars. Neil and I are going to take the next couple of weeks off. We are going to be just participating in some collaboration together and doing some training ourselves. So we will be working on communicating that to you, what the next series will be about. Just a reminder that the replays of these are available on the Roos Consulting website at roosconsulting.com, so please feel free to go there and share it with your other friends, your team members, other partners within your organization. We are consultants, coaches, and teachers, and we share our experience and learning with you so that you can have a better business and better lives. That's our ultimate aim, to be able to experience freedom and better systematic approach to how you do your life so that your personal lives and your business lives are fully enriched. We enjoy what we do, and we enjoy serving those that we are meant to serve, and what we can offer is our mission in life, and how we have been able to feel fully self-expressed in the work that we do. We'd like to make an offer to you that we do have a one-time business assessment that provides a detailed analysis of your business across 28 key measurable disciplines within your organization. As you complete that, we deliver to you a 50-page plus report on how your business is currently doing, with specific recommendations on specific things, tactical things that you can do to get keyed in, learn more about what's going on in your organization present day, and then give you a good roadmap as you go forward on how to proceed and to maximize the investment financially and time-wise that you've made already into your business. Through this process, we identify core issues that your business is facing, including key leaders within your organization, and we give you guidance on the next steps that you need to take in order to take your business to the next level. Throughout this, we help you set SMART goals to propel your business to the next level. Goals which are specific, measurable, and also realistic and time sensitive. In other words, they have a very specific time, and we present this report to you. The price for that is $19.97, and we welcome the opportunity to discuss further with you how this special business assessment that we're offering right now today could be of assistance to your organization. To continue the conversation, please contact us again at info@roosconsulting.com to learn how we might be able to partner on this. As we sign off, Neil, I again just want to express my appreciation to you and to the partners who've decided to be a part of this journey with us. It's exciting, and I've really enjoyed our time and look forward in the next couple of weeks to reconvening again. Anything that you would like to say as we sign off today?
Sure. Yeah. Again, I'd like to thank everybody who has joined us throughout this journey. And if they haven't been able to be here for all of our webinars, that they are available on the website so they can listen to it again or share it with other people. And again, to reiterate, we're going to have a whole series of different topics coming up, probably starting off in second week of October, where we'll do another 4-week program on a different set of topics, and then the same again in November and December. So there's lots more good stuff to come, and I would like anybody out there who wants to ask us questions or bounce ideas off us, they can do that with no obligation. We're delighted to hear from people, and I'd like to thank everybody again for listening, and I've enjoyed the conversations you and I have had, Larendee, while we've gone through the process. It's been a lot of fun, and I'd like to thank Mark in the background who has facilitated all of this for us.